Well, we are done with Day 8 in the PVL 2023 All-Filipino Conference, and so far, fans have been treated to action-packed games in the heart of volleyball in and outside of Metro Manila. Here to give us a breakdown of what has been happening in the PVL is volleyball analyst Neil Neil Flores. Hey Neil, how are you?
Hello. Good to be back.
I like how you're never ready for that. Let us start first with Petrogas because they're a team that have been rolling. 3-0 so far without conceding a set. And I'm not sure whether or not people should be surprised with how they're performing, but then what do you make of their start early on in the season?
Well, for the Petrogas Angels, I think they're also one of the teams to beat. We know that they lost MJ Phillips because right now she's playing in Korea. Pero they were able to acquire Rania Musa, and actually that was their missing link in the past conference, a steady, solid middle blocker. And they also got an additional libero in Bilov Barbon. So, ito yung mga low-key recruits because I know most of the attention of the volleyball community napupunta dun sa mga stars eh.
Yeah.
But they're also underrated players na nakuha talaga ng Petrogas. So, they are a strong team.
We're probably the first ones that are talking about Petrogas in the last couple of weeks. And I joke about it, saying that this is what Petrogas does, di ba, Neil? They, you know, just...
They lull you.
Yeah, they snake through the grass, and then all of a sudden, tutukain ka na lang, kumbaga. But this is the post-Coach O time for them already. How's it been, in your opinion?
Well, si Coach Timmy Santo Tomas, their new head coach naman, and their assistant coaches in Vince Mangulabnan and Mona Bagaching, they have been the coaching staff for a very long time. And system-wise, Coach Timmy is very technical. He's very straight to the point. And I feel that they have embraced Coach Timmy's style. Kaya ang ganda din ng working dynamic ng players with their coaching staff. That's why maganda yung nilalaro. Again, 3 games, wala silang naitalo na set. So I guess that's a big statement as well.
Out of town pa yun, yung isa. Tama.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a bit of a logjam in the sense that there are a couple of teams also tied up with 2-1 in the standings right now, namely F2, PLDT, and Choco Mucho. It feels like these teams haven't yet found their real stride or at least lived up to the expectation that we have all set for them. Of course, we all expect them to eventually get there. But what do you make of that logjam in the middle?
These 3 teams, these are the teams that have been trying to make it to that final round. Sila yung mga teams na kinakapos. But compared to the previous conferences, I would say that they performed better at the start of the conference ngayon. And that's very important because it's a single round robin elimination format. And rule of thumb, when you're in this type of tournament, you cannot afford to lose to the lower seeded teams. And you have to try your best to win against the higher seeded teams. So far, I think that they have done well.
Right. Obviously some stars and some names that we will talk about in a bit for F2, PLDT, and Choco Mucho. Pero maganda yan eh. I mean, ito, predict natin, this is going to be a major horse race down the stretch. Yesterday, though, let's talk about yesterday's games. You and I were there, Neil. We covered different games. Let's start with the team that you covered yesterday, Signal. They bounced back, but let's talk about the struggles first that they've encountered in the conference before that bounce-back match yesterday.
They lost a vocal leader in Rachel Andakis, and there were a couple of games when they they lost against the sister teams of Ribisco. They lost to Creamline. They also lost to Choco Mucho. And they have always won against Choco Mucho in the past.
First time. Oh,
and that was the first time that they lost. I guess that was a rude awakening for Signal HD that you cannot take any team lightly, even if you won against them before. Sometimes when we have a very good track record against other teams, you bring that confidence, and sometimes nadudulas ka din. And I guess that was also a wake-up call, especially when they went up against Akari. You saw the change. Ces Molina took the reins of becoming the new vocal leader aside from being one of the top scorers of the team. And Coach Shaq was very happy kasi we were talking about the extremes of the spectrum of Signal. It's either they play really well or they play really bad. Parang ganun eh. And they played well. They lost the second set, but collectively, they really played better against the Akari Chargers.
Yeah, they lost the second set 25-19. And when you said that they miss a vocal leader in Rachel Andakis, I swear I can still hear her say happiness signal in between every huddle. You take a look at the other game though, Farm Fresh Foxies against the Creamline Cool Smashers. And Farm Fresh looked good. They did lose that game against the Creamline Cool Smashers, but then Farm Fresh were able to take a frame and were able to keep it competitive all throughout. It wasn't just a fluke that they stole that they took that frame rather, that second set.
I did cover the Signal Akari game, but as a fan, that previous game of Farm Fresh was my favorite so far in this conference because Farm Fresh really put up a big fight against the defending champions. I would say that they're a really good team. So much potential.
Quality rallies yesterday.
Super quality
It's so
rally.
good.
You saw the impact of
Louis,
some of the players, PL Defonso and Louis Romero.
Tubes.
Trisha Tubo also
Yeah.
finally easing in
Correct.
as a sophomore
Agree.
in the PVL kasi naramdaman din natin yung, I don't know, maybe jitters or kaba in
Yeah.
the first season.
May discomfort siya ng
Yeah.
konti.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
But there's always that comfort when
Yeah.
you know that the setter
Yes.
in your team has been your setter for most of your years in the past. So
Right.
it was a very easy transition. And itong Farm Fresh, dito mo makikita that they're the team that really plays as one unit.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. I love the fact that after the match, the fans of Creamline applauded them at the end because they were so good. They gave their team a run for their money. All right, preview muna tayo for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Santa Rosa ang laban tomorrow, no? So let's talk about that. Ooh, Ivy Laxina, Jonas Sabete, their blocking prowess is coming up here in this All-Filipino Conference. Let's talk about that match.
Yeah, both of them are in the top 10 category in the best blocker. And nakakatuwa yun, especially for Jonas Abete because
yeah.
she is an outside hitter.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it will always be the middles or the opposites who would get the bulk of the kill blocks. But the fact that Jonas Abete is getting her numbers defensively with the limited touches that makukuha niya is a good sign
Good sign.
for Petrogas. Ivy Laxina has really been carrying F2 in terms of attacking. She has transitioned from middle to outside to
She's doing it all.
opposite.
Yeah.
So somebody really needs to step up.
Yeah,
help her.
the other game we're going to talk about here, PLDT against the next led, Royce Tubino and Laika Ibon. Itong si Ibon in particular finally had a bit more playing time and it looks like she deserves it based on her performances so far.
Yeah, like Ebon recovered from that injury and I feel like she's more comfortable now with next led compared to the Akari. I don't know why, it just feels right.
Yeah.
And Royce Tubino never really had a struggle in blending in the PLDT system.
Agree.
Kasi
Yeah.
most of the teammates niya naging kakampi niya na before. So it was also an easy transition for her.
Yeah, PLDT is dangerous. You know,
They are.
Don't you
Yeah.
think so? Like, there's one of those teams na kala mo, you know, tahimik, but they're going to be dangerous. This is very interesting PVL conference.
Yep.
And everybody's going to meet everybody, as we said, Neil, on the first day. That's why we're going to love this PVL.